Good morning, it's Matt Wild from Crops and this is your assembly for today. Now what I love about Britain is all the different regional accents. I think it's really great that we have so many. I'm sure that amongst students and staff here today we have people who were born or grew up in parts of Britain other than the east of England. And as someone who's regularly gone on holiday to the southwest of England, to Cornwall, to Devon, and has friends who live there, I love the following clip from Michael McIntyre's big show on understanding the British accent.
Some evolution of accents I understand. Like when you go west in England, when you head west, you'll hit like Bristol, and they've got this like West Country like that. They'll start talking like that. We're in Bristol now. We're a little bit busy, so we speak basically with this accent, but it's quite fast because we're like a city. We've got like things to do. We're like got businesses and that, right? We've got like a city centre. Then you go to Devon, you keep going west, you go to Devon, and it's the same accent, but it's a bit slower now, all right? We don't have quite as much going on here as they do in the city of Bristol. We're in Devon now, so we're just going to speak in the same accent, but we'll just take our time with it, because we've got more time, right? By the time you get to Cornwall, it's just...
Okay, a fun intro there for us about accents, but more seriously, and as we think about our lives, changing our accent to fit in with surroundings is quite common. It can be fun to try speaking in a different way, but for some it's a way of surviving. Maybe some of us here change how we speak or behave to fit in at school. Often this is rooted in the fear of discrimination on the basis of race or social class. Now, take a moment and think about where you spend your time and how you behave. When do you feel most comfortable? Is it when you're with your family, when you're in school, with your friends? Maybe it's when you're on your own, I don't know. In today's assembly, we're going to think about how we behave differently depending on who we're with and where we are. We often speak differently depending on who we're with. The way we speak when we're with our friends is probably different to how we would speak if we met a member of the royal family, for example. The way we speak when we're at home with our family might be very different to how we speak when we're in school. Lots of people change their accents or how they present themselves in order to fit in with other people. And I guess part of the angst of growing up is it can be hard to know where you fit. As you mature physically and emotionally, you're trying to work out who you are, what you like, and what sort of person you want to be. And that's very normal. Sometimes though, the pressure to sound or act differently comes from other people, and we feel forced to change who we are. We are in danger, I guess, of losing our identity, our sense of who we really are. We're going to watch a clip from a film about someone having to face the reality of who they really are. It's 1928 and a film production company is using Downton Abbey as a location for a movie. Now, partway through filming, the movie is cancelled because the introduction of the talkies means that nobody wants to see silent movies anymore. The star of the film, Myrna Dalglish, looks beautiful and elegant, but has a broad Cockney accent. It's decided that Lady Mary could voice the lines and Myrna mime her part. However, this is not as easy as it first seemed. Let's watch the clip.
There's no need to swear, is there?
I'm sorry,
That's it. I've had enough.
Myrna.
You take your hands off me. Get out of my way.
Myrna, darling.
No!
I knew she'd be trouble right from the start. She's rude, she's surly.
True, but now she also feels humiliated, moving her mouth while Lady Mary's voice comes out of it.
And this is her first sound film. What happens to her next?
I suppose her career's finished. I suppose a lot of them are finished.
The point is they've got to get her back to work. But what if she won't come? They can't force her.
Why don't you two have a go? You know how to reason with her, they don't.
Myrna, darling, please come down. We can't do anything without you.
You can talk without me. Just go away.
Milady?
I think it would be a good idea to let the maids see if they can make her comfortable, Mr. Barber.
If you think so. Yeah, but stand back, everybody.
Please let us in, Miss Dalglish. We understand what you're going through.
That's true and you know it.
I'm not going down just so they can humiliate me and laugh at me.
They won't do that.
Oh, you should have heard them at every premiere. Don't speak. Don't open your mouth. They despised me.
Why didn't you take elocution lessons? Lots of people do.
I tried. I couldn't get it. Couldn't get the neck.
Something's upset you since the day you got here. What is it?
It's this. I knew I was finished the moment I saw the jazz singer. It's been like a sword hanging over me. I thought maybe I had a few more films ahead of me, but this one will be me last.
You don't know that. You look good in the bits I've seen.
And how do I sound, eh? But the fact is I'm washed up, as the Yanks say. I'm yesterday's news.
Come on, lady. You're not talking to your fan club now.
What?
You're famous, beautiful and rich. So what if your film career's over? There's any number of things you can do. Now dust yourself off, and while you're at it, try being polite to the people who serve you.
Come on, Daisy.
You're one of us, not one of them. Just remember it. Now chop chop, straighten your hair, and let's get going.
How you doing in there?
She's almost ready, Mr. Barber. You are, aren't you, Miss Dalgleish?
I had a sister just like you once. I miss her. Every day. You remind me of her. She died of the Spanish flu in 1919. Didn't think it would touch her family, but you never know, do you? Shall we go?
I'm not worth it.
You're worth it to me.
Rien ne va plus?
It seems you're my savior.
And I intend to remain your savior for a very long time to come.
Mary? What on earth is going on? Cut! Oh, no!
Now, Myrna had made her fortune in films where she looked as though she was very well to do. In fact, she came from humble beginnings, and her accent reflected that. Sadly, Myrna had also become rude to other people along the way. As a result, when she was confronted with losing her career, she was very anxious because she didn't know what else she could do. Feeling uncertain or wondering where we fit in can leave us feeling anxious and unsettled. And rather than trying to work the problem out, Myrna reacted to getting the words wrong by storming off set and refusing to speak to anyone. The only people who were able to get through to her were the two servants, Anna and Daisy. And if you noticed what Daisy said to her, she reminded her that she was just like them and that she wasn't fooling them with her behaviour. Daisy reminded her of all the good things she had, being beautiful, rich and famous. She then told her to dust herself off and get on with it, and not to forget to be nice to the servants. Finally, she said, "You're one of us, remember." Daisy wasn't intimidated by Myrna's beauty or her behaviour. She recognised that Myrna needed someone to remind her of who she really was, underneath her fame and money. Myrna then told Daisy that she reminded her of her sister who had died in the pandemic of 1918. By speaking plainly to Myrna, Daisy had acted like a sister to her. There's a proverb or a saying in the Bible that says this: "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity." A true friend is someone who will tell you the truth and stick by you. True friend respects you no matter how you look or sound. What that means is a friend who will tell you the truth and stick with you when life is hard is like a brother or a sister. In another part of the Bible, there's a story about how God chose a boy called David to become king. The story describes how God told a man called Samuel to go to the home of a man called Jesse because he had chosen one of his sons to become king. God told Samuel that he would show him which of Jesse's sons would be king. When Samuel arrived at Jesse's home, he discovered that Jesse had 8 sons. He looked at them one by one, but it wasn't until he asked to meet the youngest son David, who was out in the fields looking after sheep, that he realised he had met the person God had chosen. While he was meeting the family, God said to Samuel, "The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at their outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." In other words, God sees people as they really are, inside, not what they look or sound like. You may speak differently in different situations. You may dress differently in different situations. You may not really know who you truly are yet, but God knows you inside out, and His love for you doesn't change. He wants you to remember that you're one of us. In other words, that you can be part of His family. So as we think about all this and draw this assembly to a close, it's a good moment to stop and to think about our friendships and the people around us. As you go through your day, think about who you could be a friend to. How can you help someone else be true to themselves? Do you feel you can be yourself? Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.